Hello and welcome to the All Seasons Health Program with Elson Haas, MD. I'm your host, Angela Murphy. And for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Haas, he's a practicing physician in Marin County, California, and has been for a long time. And he's written 11 books, including Staying Healthy with the Seasons, the title of today's program. And we are going to be going through the transition time, the doyo time from winter to spring. There we go. And now I'd like to introduce you to here is Dr. Haas. Welcome, Dr. Haas.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Angela. And welcome to All Seasons program. And this is a free class where there's new guests and people who maybe don't know me or people who've known me for a while. So welcome. It happens to be March 13th, 2021, an auspicious time. The world is maybe settling down a little bit. Let's all hope. And I just got a message my gym was opening inside, but with certain rules and guidelines, and it is new moon morning. So new moon is always a special time for me. It feels a time of communion, connectedness, creativity, tuning in. The sun and moon are together. So what do we want to create this next cycle? What do we want to be for spring? So those are, that's kind of a key question for today and this weekend. So I am going to share my screen and, kind of talk around some slides. There we go. Share. Okay, is that working? Can you see that? So welcome to Staying Healthy with the Seasons, winter and the spring. And, this is a special class for the doyo, the transition time. This is time to really pay attention to where we're going, tuning into where we've been, meditating in winter and now coming out, our blossoms are coming out, our greens are growing. So the whole idea is basically getting back to nature and tuning into the cycles and new moon time, be creative. And, I said thank you to Angela and Neil also for helping get my slides and, our programs together. So, I like this. This is some of the books, a few books that are not in here, but, this is some of my books. And we're focusing on a bit more staying healthy with the seasons, which also is an idea that's in new medicine as well. So I'm celebrating in May the 40th anniversary. My publisher's writing up some things, but this book, when I finished writing it back in 1980, and it came out in May of 81, I just realized, this is a timeless book. The message is, the cycles are, the seasons go round and round, and so the ideas are timeless, really. And it basically integrates what new medicine is, natural Eastern and Western medicine. And this book incorporated the cycles as we go through the seasons with what foods can we eat, what herbs can we use, what kind of exercise, what should we do with our mind body energies. And it's really a popular book. Andy Weil, my longtime friend, gave me a good plug many years ago. Classic in the field. So the whole idea is getting back to nature. Why is that important? Because we're attuned. We're not all electrified. I mean, everybody has a little bit too much exposure to toxins, to stress, to electromagnetic energies. And we want to really come back to a little bit more simpler living, being outside more, paying attention to the amount of daylight and nighttime as we're kind of moving into the equinox next week. So this is about embracing the cycles, and we have the basic seasons here. Spring, we're moving into spring, the creative time, the wood element. Summer is more activity and maturation of plants in the world. Late summer is the doyo. We're going to talk about doyo today. Autumn is the harvest time. Winter is a time for reflecting and recharging ourselves, and that's what we've been doing. So it really is about the transitions that we make and preparing ahead of time. That's really the idea of staying healthy with the seasons. And I'm going to give you just some images. So we have the oneness, the universal oneness that splits into the duality of yin and yang. And then that goes into the 5 elements. And then it goes into, into the 8 and the 64 and all those different aspects. But here's the simple cycle. This is called the creative cycle. Fire creates earth, creates metal, creates water, creates wood. So it's, if we start with wood in spring, it's the idea. And then the fire is the action. The earth is the manifestation of those actions. The metal is the communication of that manifestation. What are we saying? And the water is kind of coming back and reflecting on it, and coming from that reflection, new idea. So that whole cycle of creativity is what I want you to embrace a bit and think about. So when we have a lot of ideas that don't create action, and that's a big problem with stress. We worry about things, we go over and over things in our mind, and we want to really make a change there. So the purest form of creativity is any idea we have that embraces our mind and our psyche, should ideally creates an action which leads to something which follows through. So we want to manifest our ideas. Some of them take a long time. But there's also the way the body stays in balance, because all these elements relate to organs and functions and things like that. But we also have a way to protect, so one element doesn't get too out of balance. What throws us out of balance is extreme climates, cold, heat, dryness, wind, and the internal climates, which are the emotions, worry, fear, anger, etc. So we have these elemental balancing, where water controls fire and earth, controls the water. So that's an interesting phenomenon. And traditional Chinese medicine and staying healthy with the seasons kind of discuss that as we go into each season. So this is just a simple breakdown of everything from, on the bottom, you see the directions and the elements up there. And this is Neil's handiwork. He puts a lot of these things together, but kind of the key relationships here. And this is what we explore in more in depth when we go into each season. And that will be, coming up in a few weeks, the beginning of the spring information. But right now we're starting in the doyo. If you see on the bottom, we're moving from water to wood. We're going clockwise around here. And March 10th, which was just a couple of days ago, so it's the 10 days before and after the equinox and solstices, is the transition time. The world is shifting. We're moving from, daylight growing to where it's equal to night, basically, and then we start to have more light. So that's where we are. But the doyo is basically the 20 days around each equinox and solstice, and that's the time we should be paying much more attention to what's happening in our lives. So this is the earth element. The earth element is that 20 days, as well as late summer, and it relates to these things. So we're going to focus on these next couple of weeks about just paying attention to our digestion and watching out for too much sweets and watching out for too much worry. So this is the artwork here is out of Staying Healthy with the Seasons, and the information is just summarized here. So the earth element, or the doyo, it contains all the different elements, really, and it says, I just explained the time between the seasons, basically. So we're going into that now, and this is a time for preparing for next season and rebalancing ourselves so that we can maintain our health. So doyo, specifically in Chinese, means having or containing all the elements, basically. And it's just 3-week period, and this is a time where we should pay attention. How are we doing? So that's where ideally you ask yourself, how am I doing now? What needs to be different? Those of you who've been in my course, we did a couple-week detox program, and each season we do those different rituals, basically, that help our body support it and give us energy and create our health and vitality. So the idea is thinking ahead and making plans related to what we're eating and what we're exercising and all that. So here's part of the winter to spring transition. this is a challenging time and exciting time. Can I ask everyone to mute themselves? And we're hearing voices come through on people's phones or their computers. So everybody mute. Okay. So basically the beginning of spring is the beginning of the year. And obviously everybody's adapting to what's going on in the world and COVID and vaccines and everybody's own path about what's right for them. But it's a time to really pay attention to that transition now and look for what's coming up. So, the key for all of us is to stay centered. Our world may be in chaos. We may have changes. We have to move. We might be changing our job, whatever. The more we stay centered, and that's what we're going to work on today too, because the doyo time is a time for real deep centering. So simply, the water to wood is moving, into the spleen, stomach, and the digestion, especially this time. And watch out for sweets, and not letting our stress turn us to, heavier intake of food and more sweets or alcohol or everything. So this is the time where people can have a little bit more digestive upset. When you have more congestion in your body, you're more prone to get sick as well and pick up germs that are around you. So let's see, I'm gonna stop share. All right, so everybody there? All right, so let's see, anybody have any questions from what we just talked about so far? If you do, you can, Angela, you can chime in if you want. You can type it in the chat. You see your chat button on the bottom, or you can raise your hand or unmute yourself and somebody could talk. Kathleen, I see you got your hand raised. So unmute yourself and then see what you say.
Hi, Dr. Haas. Thank you so much. I historically have been allergic to allopathic medicines, starting as a baby with penicillin. And I, for instance, I had Lyme disease like 20 years ago, and my doctor, considering my history of what I was allergic to.
What's your question? Because we can't really make this about a person.
Okay.
Is that your mom?
I've been on a protocol, natural protocol regarding healthy path regarding the virus, and don't feel I should take the vaccine. Do you have thoughts about that?
I think my basic thought, and please email me about that if you want. My basic thought is that I'm starting to write this article called The Individual Experiment, because everyone, I support people in tuning into themselves. Some people want the vaccine like crazy. Some people don't want it like crazy. I think your psyche and your belief system is affecting what you do. Is that your mom with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, she probably influenced you a lot to be a healthy and not take too much Western medicine, because she's still around, even though she looks a little bit more than 50. But all right, so yeah, email Kathleen. But that's a question. If time later, I'll talk more about.
Thank you.
About the virus and vaccines and all that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
There are a couple of questions in the chat. Somebody said, I'm getting ready to do a cleanse. What should I focus on?
Yeah, we're all getting ready to do a cleanse. Those of you in my group are doing that. And I'm also offering, and you'll see at the end slides, we're doing a together spring cleanse in April 17th, I think it begins after the beginning of the spring season. So really, it's based on how you feel. I do my personal cleansing. I do every year since 1975. I do Master Cleanse. I do veggie juices. Sometimes I do soup broth if it's colder out. Anyway, that's what we'll get into more on April 3rd in the spring cleanse, in the spring class, and then specifically a guided 2-week cleanse that we'll have, which is my favorite time of the year, my favorite detox group. So we'll look at that. Thanks for asking about that.
All right, and Jeffrey has a question.
Hi, Dr. Haas. Hi, how's it going? I have a question, 2 general questions. The topics are choline and lectins, if you care to add anything about this season.
Choline and lectins, kind of a different topic. Lectins are part of the cell membrane. They affect whether people are reactive to certain foods. Again, the individual aspect of, what foods are right for each of us is our own process, just like, whether we're, what we're doing about COVID, what we're doing about vaccines and all that. So, and choline is, in the B vitamin world, and it does support your body, the acetylcholine in the parasympathetic nervous system. So we can talk more about that, Jeffrey. I know you, so you can email us if you want to get more in the specific, because I'm not sure what it's framed in. Okay. Next, Angela.
Vivian asked, do you have any recommendations for supplements before or after vaccines?
Good question. I think the same supplements we're suggesting doing is vitamin D, A, C, zinc, just supporting your immune system. To reduce reactions, probably vitamin C a bit. Some people even do an alkalinizing like baking soda or things like that. Probably apple cider vinegar is okay in there as well. But we don't really know. This is all new, so we don't really know what works and doesn't work. Okay.
Sally asked, do cleanses vary depending upon the time of the year that you're doing one? Would a green cleanse be good for this time of year because of the green growth of the season?
Yes, great question. Yeah, I mean, some people can cleanse just by doing salads every day, so, and living on green and doing green juices and green powders. So yes, that's the whole idea of staying healthy with the seasons is, in winter, we did a cold weather cleanse, which is on, my platform, Thinkific platform that Angela will share with you later about, there's, warm soups and, keeping your body warm. The whole idea of eating with the seasons is you eat foods that nature provides and protects you from the climate. So when it's cold, you eat things that are more warming and creating more fuel. In summertime, when it's hotter, you eat things that are more cooling. So that's really the idea. Now, many people are basically inherently cold or warm. Like I tend to be pretty warm blooded, so I can jump in my 50-degree pool, daily. And most people, especially women, especially as we age, tend to get colder. So, increasing exercise can help that and all that. But in traditional Chinese medicine, there's always that look at, is this body cold or is it too, warm? And they recommend more fuel and more cooked meats and things like that when you have a cold type body.
All right, we have a question from Nicole. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Dr. Haas. Thank you so much for this class. I have a question actually, regarding vaccines. What I do for a living, I feel like they might be sort of forcing it on us. And this worries me. I've been plant-based vegan for 5.5 years, and I consider myself very healthy. I'm actually studying nutrition right now, and I don't get sick very easily, but I'm afraid that I've been hearing things within the business that they're going to be making us get the vaccine.
I just got an email from my researcher and friend Richard, who sent me a piece that the federal law states that employers cannot mandate that you get a vaccine.
So I'm American, but I live in Europe.
Okay.
And I'm actually a professional opera singer, and now theaters seem to be going the way of making artists get the vaccine.
Yeah. Well, it's a decision. Like I'm going, my son is getting married in Mexico on June 5th. And I have, to decide, am I going to travel without that? I mean, right now I'm thinking maybe I'll consider the Johnson & Johnson 1-dose one. I don't know. I haven't been ready to trust. A lot of my patients don't really trust Western medicine and pharmaceutical companies. So
neither do I.
I think I have a lot of patients calling and saying, will you help me? And I've already written a few letters for younger people who actually want the vaccine because they have allergies and immunocompromised. So yeah, it's a good question. And we don't know the answer yet, Nicole, but just hang in there and just stick with what you believe, because that's really what's most important.
And I feel very strongly about this, but I'm afraid like contracts are going to come in and they're going to say you need to have the vaccine or else you can't appear on stage, and that worries me.
If you have a practitioner, they can probably you can probably come up with some idea why you shouldn't.
Okay.
Maybe you've had reaction to previous things or things like that.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, so let's see what's next here. I got to share my screen again. And there we go. Okay. Yep. All right, so we're talking. Let's take a few moments and talk about the earth element, the doyo time. Which in the book and in the seasons, it's talked about as late summer, but again, it's that time between all seasons where we're centering ourselves. So we're going to take a few minutes now that we'll stir everybody up with some of our discussion about vaccines and COVID and all that. So we're going to take about 5 minutes and do just a visualization and meditation together. And this is where I want you to really bring healing energy into your body. I want you to center yourself. You're sitting in a chair, you have your feet on the ground, your hands are resting in your lap. And you have this 3D image where you have your inner and outer world, your right and left sides, and the above you and below you. So you have the heaven and the earth, basically. And these three axes cross. They cross really. I've done it several different ways. The heart is what we're going to work on today. So they're centered in your heart, but they can also be in your third eye. They can also be in your core, down in your dantian area below your navel. So what if one of those feels more comfortable, do that. But we're just going to center ourselves, and we're going to breathe in slowly. You can even do a slow breath in. What is it? 3, 7, 8, I think. 3 count in, hold for 7, breathe out slowly for 8. Okay. And here's our image that we can look at. And just kind of feel yourself moving, kind of pulling your energy in, above and below, all around you. You're in the middle of a sphere, basically, and you're just bringing it all into your center. And even though there may be chaos or concerns that we have in the world, we're going to just stay centered, because we are not those things. We are not our mind. We are not the chaos and the drama that's going on in the world. We are ourselves, and the more we center and create peace in ourselves, the easier those things will flow. Because we all know that there's ever changing every day. If you watch the news, if you listen to people's stories, every day there's something new. There's some kind of ordeal or a casualty or murder or fire or volcano or earthquake or whatever. So let's not have any of those things going on. But all right, let's just take a few minutes now. I think I explained that sufficiently to have you calm down now. So we're going to take a few minutes and just breathe and relax. Let your jaw go. It's a place that a lot of people hold tension. If your mind starts to move away into activities and ideas, just try and come back to your centering spot, that place right at your heart, right in your third eye, that you just feel everything is calming and balancing. And let's breathe. a few more deep breaths. Let your jaw go. Feel your body relaxing, letting go of mental activity, worries, fears. Center yourself. And know that as you stay calm and centered, everything around you is simpler, calms down as well. All right, a few more deep breaths and then come back into your present state and then open your eyes and come back to our group. Hey everybody. All right, well, hopefully you relax a little bit now and now you open your mind to some more information and support. Anybody want to just, one person, anybody want to share kind of about that experience or what they felt or how you can use that going forward? Okay. All right, well, anyway, it always relaxes me. I can't really tell, yeah, from what. Okay, so Melissa says she felt the stress release. That was good. Yeah, you just type something into the chat and I'll come back to my slides. Yeah, all right, we're gonna start eating plants too. All right, come back here.
You did have a couple of questions that didn't get answered in the last Q&A.
Okay.
Someone was asking about how to prepare for the cleanse.
It depends how long you're talking about. I think the week before, if you do caffeine, alcohol, sugar, wheat, and we have the snacks, sugar, nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, chemicals. If you're doing those regularly, you want to kind of transition to getting off of them, and then just doing lots of veggies. It really depends on your individuality, and that's what we get into in the cleanse. Because if you want to lose more weight, if you have sleep issues, if you based on your medical situation. So, but it's the longer we take to do it, the better. But otherwise, also people can do what they do, and then all of a sudden, on April 17th, we say, okay, now we're just doing liquids. Now this is my spring cleanse. This is focusing on juices primarily, not water, but you drink water, but it's master cleanse, it's fresh green juices, can be broths if you're there, if you want that. But we're going to attempt to do, and some people will eat vegetables or eat some salad, but we're going to attempt to do 10 days without food, with just liquids and nourishment. Okay, so that's how we approach that.
All right, and you did have a question from Kate. What edible wild plants like dandelions are great to incorporate into our diets for this time of year?
Yeah, lots of leafy greens. I'm in Northern California, so I have miner's lettuce, chickweed, those things, dandelion greens. You can put those in your juice. You can add, they're all pretty flavorful. You can add some to your salads, you don't have to make a salad completely out of that. Okay.
And Kenneth asked, he said, every natural medicine system in the world teaches a liver cleanse in the spring. How do you handle minor liver cleanses throughout the rest of the year?
I think we'll always want to keep our liver pretty clean and not stress it with too many chemicals. And, that's why we eat organic foods and things like that. But yeah, there's several specific ideas about liver cleanses. When we do a 10-day cleanse, I assure you that your liver does pretty well getting cleansed, getting a break. Your digestive tract gets a break. People feel, just so much more peace in their gut and clearer energy too. So it's worth it. All right, let's see here. I'm coming back to my slides now. There we go. All right, so Just talking about the earth element organs. Let's just focus a few minutes here. I don't want to go too much detail into this, but we're in these 20 days. We're in the earth element, which is stomach and spleen and digestion, and our immune health. And this is time where people can get out of balance, and then when you're out of balance, you get sick more easily. So chewing our food well, that's a good way to start a cleanse too. Doing a more alkaline type diet, especially if you have any kind of inflammatory issues. So we have a lot of information on this in our study guide. So the spleen basically helps filter blood, red blood cells. It gets the old red blood cells, out of circulation, creates new ones, where it does in the bone marrow as well. The spleen supports the immune function. Pancreas helps your digestion, as well as it makes insulin to help your blood sugar. So that's, simple ideas there. All right, so here's important. So we're just looking ahead, thinking ahead, and we're going to get into the liver gallbladder, which are the organs of the spring. So that's another idea, which is to get away from too much fatty foods, and especially fried oils. Get away from sugar and alcohol. Watch out for the snacks. I mentioned that. Eating a little more lightly, especially as we warm up a little bit. We can shift our schedule a little, trying to eat before dark, but we're going to change times soon, like tonight, and we'll go from there. So here's my my meditation the other morning. I said my message for spring. I think I was telling this to a patient I was talking with on Zoom. It says, "It's clean and clear, conscious and creative." I was working with her on getting away from using medicines to control her anxiety and her sleep and all that. And it's just about simplifying, and don't immediately turn to drugs when you have an issue, but see if you can solve it within yourself. So clean and clear, conscious and creative. So as we move into spring, we're going to talk about more greens and salads. It's really an important time. Always, to me, a healthy diet focuses on vegetables. That's our main meal. 50% of our diet ideally is vegetables, and we have some grains and beans, avocado, nuts, and seeds, as you see here. Plan a spring cleanse. We just talked about that. As the weather warms up, it's easier to do, and it's lighter later in the day. So, and then spring cleaning is also about what we've always heard about, all our lives is, you clean the house, you clean your closets, you get rid of things, you throw things out, you recycle them more ideally, and it's a time to go through your life and freshen it up. So that's what we'll be all working on in spring. So exercise, so stretching and breathing, it's really a time. I mean, every day we should take time, especially for a lot of us are working from home. A lot of us are on the computer more than we've been. Take breaks, get outside, get some fresh air. But it's time to also increase your exercise. I think gyms are starting to open up a little bit, at least where I am, and we'll see how that goes. But we want to also work on our inner exercise. We're still part of in the winter doyo time. So we want to think, would you consider studying? When I studied Tai Chi, back in the 70s, it changed, it improved my tennis game, and it helped me really tune into my body and stay in my core. And that's what I do in some of the, in the coming seasons, I'll be talking about the 8 elementals and the longevity exercise that I do daily. And I have my friend Robert, or Spirit Boxer, who's my teacher on that. But way back when I was studying martial arts and Tai Chi, it really helped me tune into my body. So we also want to get outside more and hike and bike. So I'm going to give you an exercise. This is what we're going to do. And I think I'm not going to stand up to do it right now, but I want you, when we're done with class, I want you to go outside, or do it in a airy living room, whatever. This is kind of our winter to spring energy exercise. Okay. So basically it's solid trunk and roots. So your feet are centered. You tuck your buttocks under so that you're straight, and you feel like your head is over your pelvis. And that's really the position you want to be in. And then you're going to stretch up. You're going to reach up and see if you can get your arms way up with your arms next to your ears almost. And you could point your hand. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna unshare. Can you see me now? I think I have to stop my screen share to have you see better. Okay. So your hands are up. I luckily still have good shoulders that will let me stretch. And then I initially do that, but then I turn my hands up and reach up like that. And then you're going to just slowly kind of make your spine do this. And then you're going to go the other way. So we're going to stretch and we're going to just feel like, so basically it's strong root and trunk and flexible branches. So in martial arts, this is what we think about. So you're going to do that and, do it for like, 5 to 10 seconds, one side, and then similar the other side, and breathe with it. You can close your eyes. Well, maybe you don't want to close your eyes because some people get dizzy. But when you do these martial arts exercises, you also put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and you breathe in and out through your nose. So that helps you kind of land in your body. So it's basically just think we're moving from, water into wood, so we want our trunk to be solid, but our branches can easily sway. So we're starting to get more flexibility there. Okay. So that's my winter to spring exercise. Okay, let's come back here. Okay. So here's kind of a concept. This is going to be more part of my evolutionary medicine, course. Planning on starting in September. But the 3 strengths. This is from Robert. These are the disciplines we want to have really during the dojo, but anytime. It's really always we want to keep our mind part of our daily exercise and our rhythmic aspect of life. That's one of the things that I have a rhythm to my life. I have certain things that I do on certain days, but also there's a certain amount of ritual that you do. So you want to train your mind to be able to control it to a certain, when my 5 keys to staying healthy, attitude is a number, is kind of probably the more important one besides nutrition, exercise, sleep, and managing stress. But being able to adjust your attitude, I call it the attitude, is that when you start to go into negativity or worry or things like that, can you stop that? Can you say, body, mind, stop doing that? We also want to stabilize our emotions, so we're not letting our emotions take us over, and that's not easy for a lot of people. And you also want to activate your intentions. Can you see where you're going? Can you focus yourself on that? So it's not always easy. So these are a couple quotes. Courage is stepping into discomfort and not step out until it's transformed. So can you embrace these challenges that we all have at different times, and can we move through them? And then keeping your heart calm. When the heart is even, the chi is harmonious. Anyway, a little bit of philosophy there. So I'm just going to touch on this briefly, but you can all go back and review this if you want to get into, stomach and digestion and supporting your stomach acid and your digestive enzymes. One way to stimulate your digestion, some people take hydrochloric acid, but you can also make a tea of orange peel and rosemary and juniper berries, which is nourishing to stimulate your digestion and your digestive enzymes and your hydrochloric acid. You can do that before you eat. There's also bitter greens. We talked about greens already. Endive and chicory, dandelion greens, arugula. These are all helpful. And then you can go wild. I have lots of miner's lettuce coming up now in the early spring. So it is early spring already in Northern California, a little bit ahead of other areas. So if you have a lot of gas and indigestion, you could do seed tea, fennel and anise, fenugreek, cardamom. You can have a little mixture in Indian cultures. They chew these, as a way to help your digestion. Licorice root is also good. Other herbs, cinnamon and chamomile, thyme. These all can help support your digestion. To support your spleen during this time, fresh lettuce, romaine, particularly parsley. A lot of people are drinking celery juice. Other fresh juices. You can add a little bit of comfrey leaf. You know, lots of other herbs too. So general, kind of in a quick review here, we want to pay attention. We want to center ourselves. We want to be adaptable. We want to keep ourselves relaxed. We want to focus on breathing every day. And when we're stressed, particularly, we want to get up and move away from the computer. We want to get some fresh air. When it's warmer a little bit, get your bare feet on the green grass, on the earth, so that you clear that electromagnetic energies. And you want to have your intake be balanced. And you want to you know, prepare ahead of time and be, you know, attentive to yourself. The more we fight this, the more issues that we have. So we don't want to, you know, overdo our eating as well. All right.
So you did have a few questions that came up in the chat. If you want to unshare your screen.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
There we go.
Jeffrey asked if fats can be used during a cleanse if one is thin.
Yes, you definitely. Well, even during a cleanse, I have people do some olive oil, kind of, because you can get fatty acid deficient if you don't have that, you know, more easily than protein, or and definitely not carbohydrate deficient. So yeah, you can do that. If you can do a detox that focuses on more calories, you know, and you know, people who are overweight will tend to lose more weight on a cleanse, but those who don't want to lose weight will have to add a little bit. And maybe you can even do smoothies in the midst of your cleanse. You can do juices and then some, you know, fresh smoothies as well.
And Genevieve asked, should we continue to take supplements during a cleanse?
Mostly not. And but you have to talk to your practitioner about what medicines you're on. The supplements that I use during cleanse, and we'll go into this during the cleanse experience, but are green, like a green powder, like barley grass and wheatgrass and chlorella and spirulina and things like that, have some amino acids, so they help support your energy. So I do that like before I go exercise. And even during cleansing, I exercise a lot. I exercise more because it feels good. My body feels lighter and I'm able to do that. So you don't take a lot of supplements. If you're doing a detox program like we did in the winter, then yeah, you would take probably a multivitamin, some C and antioxidants and other things like that. So my detox diet book goes into all that.
And Michael said, spring is an important season for honeybees. What's your opinion on consuming honeybee products during this season?
Honey, well, everybody loves honey. I think honey is a good food. I think it's probably the, you know, better of the sweeteners that people have. And if you have allergies, if you get local honey, then you do a little bit of that. It may help minimize your allergy reactions, you know. But we can, you know, I also do a lot of allergy work in my clinic and test people for specific allergens and all that. So yeah, honey, we like honey.
Pat asked, what do you think of the keto diet?
The keto diet, it's a good transitional diet. I don't think it's a good long-term diet. I think real food, you know, cycling with the seasons and chewing well and eating lots of veggies. But I don't like diets that are not as earth friendly, that focus too much on high protein and high fats and things like that. So I think I still am a fan of, you know, simpler eating, focus, as I mentioned, focusing on veggies, you know, eating other foods around it. And, you know, but as a transition diet, just like the Atkins diet was good for people lowering weight and and cholesterol and things like that. But you know, I think these diets are short-term. Even my detox diet and juice cleansing are short-term transitional diets to help you reconnect with your body and support yourself, basically.
And someone just asked, you led right into that question. Could you explain the difference between a detox diet and a cleanse?
A detox diet is food that is more alkaline, and from what I teach, it's more of an alkaline. Like my detox diet is steamed vegetables twice a day, chewing your food well. You eat 3 meals a day still. So you can combine those too. Like I've done programs. I was even in Women's World recently where I did master cleanse through the morning, and then I did some other juices. Then I did a soup, you know, a soup base at night. So there's a lot of ways to combine that, but yeah, there's different realms of detox to cleansing.
And Jeff asked a question. I don't know what this is. Any way to get rid of lipofuscin?
Lipomas?
No, it's in the.
All right. Well, Jeff, email us. I don't want to get into specific medical maladies right now. So, all right, I'm going to come back to slides because we're getting, we don't have a lot of time left. Share screen. I'm getting the technique down, Angela, here.
You're doing great.
All right, so some of you on the call now are in the All Seasons program since last September. It's going into spring and summer. So it's based on staying healthy with the seasons. So, basically what we've talked about. So the idea is to be part of a group, to be proactive and feel like you're connected and not just isolated on your own. And that allows us to make changes. When we make changes that we have support of other people and we tell people what we're doing, it's often really, it's more effective. Okay, so we're just doing a quick review here. Wood element of spring, liver and gallbladder. This is what we're going to be looking at coming up. The spring course will have a guided visualization, diet and exercise approach, herbs and different recipes. We have a lot of this stuff online that Angela will explain to you in a sec. So I think, Angela, I'm going to let you, because I want you to share about what's on about Thinkific. Is this the right place for that? So here's what if you come into my spring group, then you have access to this and all the workbook and a lot of the materials we have up there. And we have several webinars. We have the spring cleanse, and then we have Q&A. We have support. You have email contact. You have a digital copy of New Medicine, and we do guided meditations every season. So that's part of it. And Angela,
Yes, if you want, you have to unshare your screen so I can share mine. And in the meantime, while we're doing that, would you like to answer a question that Sally asked? If we're moving from water to wood in the seasons, why do we focus on earth and not wood at the time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because earth is a transitional element. That's what we just explained. The doyo, which is the 20 days between each season, and that's why I'm focusing this class on April 3rd when we start the spring season. We'll be focusing on spring and all the aspects there.
So when you go to our Thinkific, which is the learning platform, it's elsonhaasmd.thinkific.com. And this is the main page that you come to, and you can watch a little video of Dr. Haas there. And you can scroll down then, and you can see all of the different courses that are being offered. And spring is the one that Dr. Haas mentioned, is the one that we're going to be starting on April 3rd. But we'll take a look at winter because that class has already been going on. So we'll take a look inside of the class. So when you go on the landing page, you'll see all of the information. And this looks similar to the spring one. I'm not sure why I'm not going into the class. Here, I'll look at my dashboard. And I'm already registered for the winter class. So that's what it looks like when you land on the landing page. Then this is what you see when you go into the class. As Dr. Haas mentioned, everybody gets a digital copy of Staying Healthy with the Seasons book. And you'll see on the left-hand navigation side here, the doyo. This is the winter class, so this was the last doyo, and it has all the different parts. Then we had winter part 1. What we'll be going into is spring part 1. You get the how to use this course. There's a curriculum that tells you all of the different dates and what's going on. You get a study guide, which is from Staying Healthy with the Seasons book. So you get all the information. You get a lot of support materials like a nutrition tracker, a hydration helper. For winter class, we focused on sleep, which that's not what the focus is for spring. And then you'll always get to see the videos. We record all the videos of the classes, the audio, if you prefer to download and listen, you know, when you're walking. And you also get all of the slides that Dr. Haas shows in all of the classes. So you can go back and you don't have to take notes, which is nice. And so then there's the detox. We did a winter detox. As he mentioned, we're going to be doing a spring cleanse instead. And you get all the information about the detox. You get the recordings from each of the detox or the cleanse, as it will be. And then there's a part 2 of the seasons. This is the All Seasons Health Program. So there will be a spring part 2, and it's the same thing. You get a curriculum, the videos, the audios, and the slides. So it's a really robust program, and it's really wonderful that Dr. Haas is offering all of this information for the whole year. We started in the fall, and so we've been going through the seasons. So there's a number of people in this class with us now who have been doing every season. And what Dr. Haas is offering now is you can do the spring season, which includes the spring detox, a part of the class, including all the other information. And you also have the option to also add on the summer season for $50 more, which is just great. So it's just really an amazing program. So back to you, Dr. Haas.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, can you go to the next slide, or
You have to. So if you have more slides, yes, you need to do that.
All right. So anybody who's joins the class now, I'm offering, I don't know if you can see that because now I'm sharing my screen, but a copy of Staying Healthy with the Seasons, signed copy if you sign up for the spring cleanse, and it's celebrating the 40th anniversary of the book. And if you already have a copy, you can give that one away and keep your signed copy. And then you see the price for that for signing up for the spring and all those 4 or 5 classes. And well, it's actually even more. You can also add the summer course for an additional $50. And I'd love to have you all join in. So appreciate it. So thank you for coming. Let me unshare. Thank you for coming this Saturday morning, new moon. But remember, it's New Moon Day. It's a good day to visit some friends. I'm actually heading down to Memorial up on Mount Tam right after we get done here. So
you do have another question. Someone asked, what do you think about eating for your blood type?
Eating for your blood type is a popular one. I think there's something there. It kind of ties in with lectins a little bit that Jeffrey asked about earlier. They use that Vassar College up in Seattle, and my Staying Healthy with Nutrition book, which actually had Buck Levin, who taught a course up there, a nutrition course, and he helped me with the updated writing of Staying Healthy with Nutrition. They did a study. They had like 4 or 5 diets that the students did. It wasn't keto then. I think some people did Atkins, some people did Ornish, some people did the blood type. Blood type was the winner for the one that they felt best on and had the best results. So it's a little bit, I think there's an aspect to that. Whether you're kind of an old blood type, like a type O, or a newer one. Like I'm AB, so I can kind of eat anything. At least I think so. But I have to eat less of everything. So so blood type diet has got capabilities. So
all right, you've had a couple of questions about the class. Someone's asking if they can join at any time, or if there's a way to sign up for the entire year, or signing up quarterly. Do you want to address that?
Well, since we're in the middle right now, you would sign up for spring and summer. Then you have the rest of the year for a lot less than it was. So part of the beginning for the whole year. So, but it's similar. So yeah. I'm happy anybody who wants to join. We have a good group of people already, and I love this kind of format of sharing information with you all and supporting you and taking the best care of yourselves, because that's really what matters in the long run. And then your good, vibrant health you'll affect other people. And when I started cleansing back in the mid 70s, and I've done at least a 10-day cleanse every year since 1975. And you know, when you start getting into that zone and your friends see you and they say, wow, what are you doing? You look so vital. You're shiny and you look drop some weight or whatever. And you say, yeah, I've been cleansing. So when I did my first cleanse, after I did it, I shared it with, that's what I wrote about in the spring section of Staying Healthy for the Season. I shared it with the town that I lived in. I wrote about it in the newspaper, and I had like 30 some people wanted to do it. So this lady offered me her room overlooking the Pacific Ocean and the view of San Francisco, you know, and I had all these people do it, and after they did it, they had such positive results. And this is where I learned that there's something really to this cleansing experience, you know. And they affected a couple hundred people over the next 3 months. I think I did it in May, and then all through the summer I would be walking around town. It was a small town. I walk around town and people look at me and smile, and I could see the little glow coming off of them. I say, oh, you're cleansing, aren't you? Yeah. So, you know, and over the course of 45 years, I've watched thousands and thousands of people do that, and I would say 7 out of 10 people have great results that affects them and helps them make changes. A couple people are challenged. Some people, you know, have trouble doing it, you know, so a lot of it is, yeah, but now I would say when you do it in a group, most people follow through and do it. So to me, that's really helpful. So,
All right. Someone asked if, is the class recorded on Zoom? And yes, all of these classes are recorded, and you will get a link to the recordings. And what we usually like to do at the end, it's nice to put your Zoom into gallery view and unmute yourself, and you can say goodbye. So thank you all for joining us. Bye, Dr. Haas.
Thank you, gallery.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Dr.
Goodbye.
Haas.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah, look at all those beautiful faces.
Very much.
Bye.
Everybody's waving.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Happy new moon. Get ready for spring. Stay healthy.